this evening tonight. There's lots of wonderful, wonderful people out here. I'm just wondering how many people came from Glide Memorial Church tonight, just a show of hands. Yay, thank you. Welcome to La Pena. The evening is packed. It's packed. We have lots of people coming out to thank Janice Mirikitani, to talk about her work and her commitment, and it's just been a very wonderful, the whole process, just an outpouring of love and gratitude. I just want to say a couple of little La Pena things. For those of you that this is your first time coming here, I encourage you to come back. We have calendars for the rest of this month and December on the back ledge back there, and there's also a mailing list that you can sign up for. So we have lots of very exciting things happening the end of this year and looking forward to next year, so we encourage that to happen. I'm going to start now by welcoming the Reverend Cecil Williams from Glide Memorial Church. And his work with Glide is legendary and profound, and many people know of his work there. And I just want to say he also has the wonderful honor of being married to Janice Mirikitani. So I'm going to let Cecil start the evening. Thank you.
I have known Janice Mirikitani for 30 some odd years, 30 years. She was born at Glide. No, really, I've known her for 30 years, and I came there about 32 years ago, and she came about 2 years after I'd been there, maybe a year. But anyway, a graduate of UCLA, journeying up to the North Coast to the Bay Area, and going to University of California and San Francisco State, and teaching in the Bay Area for a while, and then coming to Glide. And from there, her life took a sharp turn because she was a participant in the demonstrations at San Francisco State, dealing with ethnic studies. And I shall never forget her saying that one day when she had come back from a demonstration, well, I won't be the same. Her poetry even changed as well. We have been many places. She is truly a poet of the people, because I remember the first book that she did entitled Ion, right? Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. And I remember another book that she did with a number of other people from different races, different cultures, entitled Time Degrees. She literally stood in the basement of her home with water almost over ankle deep, and she and others put those books together. This was a long time ago, some 25 years ago, that occurred, but that was her entry into the kind of poetry that she conveys to us even today. Much of her poetry speaks of other cultures as well, other people, different races, different cultures, different groups, to women, to men, poetry speaks of many facets of life. She's also worked on a book, 4 Generations of Japanese, an anthology which has been out for a number of years now. I could just go on and on. Any book that I've done, she has been the editor of those books and corrected everything that needed to be corrected, and she's just that's who she is. She works very hard, put forth a great effort, and she and June Jordan's paths crossed, and of course they became good friends, because June Jordan to us is one of the greatest poets in America, and no doubt about that. I want you to know that I am honored that I am her husband. Somebody yelled out there when we were getting ready to come in, oh, this is Janice's husband, Cecil Williams. No, we made sure that I didn't get the glory, you got it. And that's what we want to do tonight, is certainly give the tribute to you. She is an excellent worker, and I think more than anything else, she's on the cutting edge. And frankly speaking, she's a terrific wife also. I got to say that. A great woman and a great leader. I'm very happy to have the opportunity to be here tonight in support of her and to say to you, just keep on, Janice. We're with you every place you go. Thank you. At this time, I'm so glad to see all the Glide folks here. Thank you very much, too. At this time, we'd like to bring up Joyce Hayes. Joyce is the director of a program for children and youth at Glide Church, and does a superb job, and she is going to do something. I'm not sure what, but Joy Hayes. Come on, Joy.
I've always told Jan I'm an impromptu thinker and not an impromptu speaker. But I think that this is probably my finest hour, to be able, at having been in Glide for a number of years, but to be able to honor Jan, who has been a friend, a mentor, inspiration to all of us. And we are such a unique group at Glide, and the diversity, but the diversity of feelings and spirit, and to have a person who's at the helm helping us to be the best that we can be at all times is truly an honor. I'd like to say that Janice has been dedicated to poetry for the people and by the people for over 30 years. Her commitment to the spoken and written word as a force for liberation and as a weapon for change has been an ongoing part of whom she is. Janice has written and edited 4 groundbreaking anthologies and have given voice to people of color whose names and voices have been weeded out by the dominant Euro-American culture. In her hands, poetry becomes more than an academic exercise. It lives on the streets and the hearts of the people of the Tenderloin, of Chinatown, of the Mission District, and as far as I'm concerned, of the world. Janice's words are those spoken by prostitutes, the addicts, by mothers who cannot speak or understand the language of their children. And that's really important, because we have a lot of children who find their voices at Glide. And one of the things that has happened in the past years that she co-edited with Reverend Cecil Williams. I have something to say about This Big Trouble, and Children of the Tenderloin Speak Out. And it gave our children a voice. It gave them a feeling of speciality, that they could speak, that they could be heard, and that people would listen. And they have been, and the children that have gone on have been eternally grateful to Jan for helping them find their voice. Janice is also president of the Glide Foundation, executive director of programs of Glide Church, Urban Center, a multicultural, multiracial agency where she has worked for over 30 years and where she has helped to create the 35 social programs that we have at Glide. And this has been an important part of her work to be able to help us develop programs. And we start programs with the need, and a lot of times not with the money. So it's been very important that she has been there to define the need for the people in our community. it's difficult for me to speak for everyone at Glide or try to, but I want to speak personally for myself as a person who has been helped, as I said, and has been mentored, has been cared for, as a single mother, as a person who came to Glide with a broken spirit, and as I say, without a past, but looking for a future. But Janice has been my total inspiration. I love her completely, and I honor her today, and with some of our young people who've come from Glide. Thank you. Now, I'd like to introduce a young lady who has been, the first time I met her, she was 3.5 years old, and she came to be a part of our preschool program at Glide. Belinda, who'd like to sing a song of tribute to Jan.
To never have sunlight on your face. You were content to let me shine, that's your way. You always walked a step behind. So I was the one with all the glory, while you were the one with all the strength. A beautiful face without a name for so long. A beautiful smile to hide the pain. Did you ever know that you're my hero? And everything I wish I could be. I can fly higher than an eagle, for you are the wind beneath my wings. It might have appeared to go unnoticed, but I've got it all here in my heart. I want you to know I know the truth. Of course I know it. I would be nothing without you. Did you ever know that you're my hero? And everything I wish I could be. I can fly higher than an eagle, for you are the wind beneath my wings. For you are the wind beneath my wings.
I'm not much of a extemporaneous speaker either, but my name is Luis Sequia, and I've had the privilege and the good fortune to know Janice for quite some time, and I'd just like to add my voice in tribute to her. I remember the first time I met Janice. It was quite a while ago, and this was when my brother Seraphin was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and I remember her comforting presence and warm caring. And after he died, she patiently and lovingly went over his poems, selecting favorite ones to be used for a commemorative chapbook that she published herself. Also, whenever our group, whether it was a Filipino writers group or Kearney Street Workshop, needed to raise money for a specific book project or cultural event, we knew we could always count on Janice, who I affectionately call the godmother. She was always there to help us. She always came through, opening doors for those historically left out. Without her assistance and advocacy, many of these worthwhile community and cultural projects would never have gotten off the ground. She has and continues to be our angel, spiritually as well as in many other respects. On a deeply personal level, Janice has affected me with her poetry reading and writing as no one else has. She has been a continuing inspiration to keep fighting and writing for what is just and significant in our lives. She has always written and spoken for those who are neglected, discriminated against, and the voiceless in this society. I've used her poems in the Asian American culture class that I'm teaching at San Francisco State, and whether she's writing about the inexcusable imprisonment of thousands of Japanese Americans during World War II, or a poignant portrait of an abused young woman living in the Tenderloin, the students are invariably blown away by her powerful, uncompromising voice. Over the years, despite Janice and Cecil's unbelievable busy schedule, they have always managed to find the time to offer a thoughtful gift, a note or gesture of their love and concern for myself and my family. For that alone, I will always cherish her friendship, both of your friendships. Every time I've visited Janice at Glide, I'm always overwhelmed at the consistent extent of her involvement there. I've seen her diffuse a number of potentially troublesome encounters on the spot. She seems to be doing a million things at once and doing them well with her usual grace and strength and sense of humor. I walk away from this lively church with the indelible impression of Janice and Cecil continuously in the eye of the storm, providing the Bay Area community with so much of their time, energy, commitment, and most important of all, their love. God bless you both. Thank you.
When I moved out to, my name is June Jordan. When I moved to the West Coast, I was hoping for all kinds of reasons for greater faith than the East Coast burnout provides. And I have found those greater reasons here. And one of the pivotal sources for my greater faith here, living in the Bay Area, is Glide Memorial Church. And I'd like to salute Reverend Williams, and thank you for this. And I found out about Glide Memorial Church was doing everything I thought the United States government should be doing. I tried to take a closer look, and that's when I discovered Janice Mirikitani. I would like to second the word angel here. She is an angel, as far as I'm concerned, a living angel, an angel of service, of tremendous energy, and indomitable. This is an indomitable lady. Don't mess, you know what I'm saying? I try to break it down for you. So this is very thrilling tonight because for me to join in this honor that we're trying to pay as tribute to Janice Mirikitani, because she is just a fabulous fusion of art and politics, which is, I think, the way to go here. And she is that fusion personified. And I love her poetry, and I love and esteem more highly than I can say her leadership in the community as an effective executive agent for change. And I love her as my sister. And I'd like to read just a few poems in tribute to Jan. Take them out. Rainforests of the world only provide X amount of oxygen for everybody, including some you don't like anyhow. Rainforests of the world only provide X amount of refuge for X amount of living creatures, most of which you've never seen even in the movies. Take them out. From Alaska to Brazil, you want to keep that kind of uncontrolled diversity in stock? This is this is a new poem, recent poem that I wrote with my Poetry for the People poets. Let me be very, 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 very specific. Let me not forget about, or let me not forget about anything like an eyelash lost above your lips. When the president says no to legislation to make cocaine more criminal like crack, or crack less criminal like cocaine, so that white men as well as black get nailed for jail. When the president says no, when the president says no, when the president says no to Fidel Castro, when the president talks about human rights and moral guiding lights, and then the president says yes to a total mess of multi-million-fold marketplace potentate Toms and Dicks and Harrys, and then when the president says no to Fidel Castro, let me be very, 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 very specific. The criminal inertia, the criminal morality of inertia, the criminal morality of inertia, nothing, not even the jumped baby tied to the chair, not even the smashed-faced woman dragged through the house by what's left of her hair, nothing interdicts the criminal inertia of suit and tie or my complacency. Nothing, not even the beautiful man parking my car or sweeping the airport terminal floor, only because so far no robot can absolutely replace a beautiful man, while unemployment and huge profits rise amid official spokesmanly lies about the no jobs future we're definitely due for. Nothing interdicts the criminal inertia of suit and tie or my complacency. Or let me not forget about 2 miles below my house, a train moves moaning through the night. I said 2 miles below my house, a train moves moaning through the night. Let me be very, 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 very specific. Now that the United States Congress agrees that nobody American has a right to anything besides acute emotional, physical, and economic anxieties, let me be very, 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 very specific. Let me not forget about, or let me not forget about anything like an eyelash lost above your lips. Please, baby, please. is called On Time Tanka. Tanka is an ancient Japanese form of poetry, and it's 5 syllables. The next line 7 syllables. Next line 5, and then the last 2 lines 7 syllables, 7 syllables. I refuse to choose between lynch rope and gang rape. The blues is the blues. My skin and my sex, deep dues I have no wish to escape. I refuse to lose the flame of my single space, the safety I choose between your fist and my face, between my gender and race. All black and blue news withers the heart of my hand and leads to abuse no one needs to understand. Suicide wipes out the clues. Big time juicy fruit, celebrity rich hero rolling out the rolls, proud cheating on your black wife, loud beating on your white wife. Real slime, open mouth, police officer, true creep, evil and uncouth, fixing to burn black people, killing the song of our sleep. Neither one of you gets any play in my day. I know what you do, your money, your guns, your say-so against my pepper spray. Okay, laugh away, I hear you, and I accuse you both. I refuse to choose. All black and blue news means that I hurt and I lose. I close with this poem that I wrote for Janice Mirikitani. It's titled, What Great Grief Has Made the Empress Mute, which was an actual New York Times headline. Because it was raining outside the palace, because there was no rain in her vicinity, because people kept asking her questions, because nobody ever asked her anything, because marriage robbed her of her mother, because she lost her daughters to the same tradition, because her son laughed when she opened her mouth, because he never delighted in anything she said, because romance carried the rose inside a fist, because she hungered for the fragrance of the rose, because the jewels of her life did not belong to her, because the glow of gold and silk disguised her soul, because nothing she could say could change the melted music of her space, because the privilege of her misery was something she could not disgrace, because no one could imagine reasons for her grief, because her grief required no imagination, because it was raining outside the palace, because there was no rain in her vicinity. And then I added this for tonight. It's a closing tanka. But you live not mute, not frozen, not taken by ice. You dig for the root of the pain, hard and precise. Your strength as basic as rice. Thank you. Thank you. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, would you please join me in welcoming the one and only, the amazing, beautiful Janice Mirikitani.
I'm gripped with muteness now. I really don't know how to say thank you. I mean, all I can say is that I feel incredibly blessed, and I feel strengthened to go on for another 30 years. I want to thank Cecil and Joyce and Belinda and Lou, Sakia, and June Jordan, and all of you who are here tonight in support of me and in support of Berkeley High School's Poetry for the People program also. This is Francis Wong, preeminent musician, artist, and he's going, I hope, be the wind beneath my wings, as you all are. And again, I am deeply, deeply grateful. I feel so blessed for this kinship. I feel so blessed that we have June Jordan, and that I have Cecil Williams and my daughter Tian and my family, Reedy and Linda, and my Glide family and my artist family, and all of you here as kinship, as family, as a support. It truly is strengthening. I think I'm supposed to read some poetry, and what I want to do is talk a little bit about poetry, because I don't know how to say how important it is in our lives. I think poetry, language is a mirror in which we find ourselves, in which we discover our history and our hope and our home. Language liberates us, especially those of us who have been imprisoned by secrets and silences and shame. Poetry is the most immediate form of truth as defined by Dr. June Jordan. It is beautiful, so it clutches our hearts and soars above the cerebral and reaches to the lowest, reaches to the streets, reaches deep into the abysses of our pain, makes transformation possible. Poetry grips our imagination and lets us see someone else's life and leads us into compassion, makes our feet walk with our tongues and our hearts. Poetry teaches us the love of words and the expression of love and the love of sounds and the sounds of love and the love of living. Poetry is a language of love, and June Jordan is a poet, and she is also, if I can say this, a matchmaker. An incurable matchmaker. I think it's because she loves love, and she loves to see people love, and she loves to see people be loved. And she's also very mischievous and watches First Love, and she loves the love between friends and the respect and the dignity of love. And I am so grateful, and I feel, again, so blessed to be in the light of her love and Cecil's and Tian's and all of you. And I'm so happy to be at this benefit of poetry for the people of Berkeley High School, because there really is nothing more important, is there, than us supporting students who are engaged in a journey to discover their love of poetry. Jump in, Francis, whenever you feel like it. I'm going to read this poem, Soul Food, for my husband, who I am blessed to have undergone a journey of liberation, I think his as well as mine. And it's called Soul Food, and the poem is really no longer accurate because we've modified Cecil's diet, and it's not, but it's not so poetic to talk about polyunsaturates and beta-carotenes and organically grown sprouts and things. Berkeley food. Healthy food. But I think Greece is so hedonistic and delicious. We prepare this meal together. I complain, hurt, reduced to fury again by their subtle insults, insinuation, because I am married to you. Impossible autonomy, no mind of my own. You like your fish, crisp, coated with cornmeal, fried deep, sliced mangoes to sweeten the tang of lemons. My fish is raw, unshredded lettuce, lemon slices, thin as skin, wasabi burning like green fire. You bake the cornbread flat and dip it in the thick soup I brewed from turkey carcass, rice gruel, sesame oil, and chervil. We laugh over watermelon and bubbling cobbler. You say, there are few men who can stand to have a woman equal, upright. This meal, unsurpassed. Thank you. This is a poem for my daughter, Tian, and I think it's really about our children who leave us because they become the people that we don't know anymore. They grow away, they grow into being who they are, they grow into their independence. I was reading a ancient Japanese court poem that said, "More than the gems in my comb box shaped by the god of the sea, I prize you, my daughter."
There's music happening.
I thought that was not you.
I know it's Pharoah Sanders, but he's playing over at Yoshi's. He's playing pretty loud.
Is it coming over the system?
Yeah.
Is there any way to shut off?
We can hear you.
Yeah, why don't we move on though?
Okay.
A woman weaves her daughter's wedding slippers. They will carry her steps into a new life. But the mother weeps alone into her jeweled sewing box. She slips red thread around its spool, the same she used to make her daughter's first silk jacket, embroidered with turtles, symbols of long life. All the steps she took on her unbound, quick feet, her mother remembers, dancing on the stones of the yard among yellow butterflies and white-breasted sparrows. And she grew, legs strong, body long, mind independent. Now she captures all eyes with her waist-length hair combed smooth and her hips swaying like bamboo. The woman spins her thread, ties one end to her heart. The other end she ties forever to her daughter's departing footsteps. I know we have a long evening, so I'm going to cut a couple of these poems out here. Well, I okay. I think that racism is a terrible disease that we have to constantly attempt to find a cure for. And I think we don't spend very much money on the research of the cure of racism. But I guess the best way that we can attack it is to continue, as people of color, to define ourselves and to correct those hallucinations about us, those comic strip caricatures that are created about us to constantly attempt to diminish and minimize us. Asian Americans and Asian immigrants particularly must constantly combat our complacency, being called the model minority, which is, of course, a divisive term designed to separate us from other communities of color. But we are also greatly subjected, and more so now than ever, to hate violence. So we must constantly and diligently fight those stereotypes. Yes, we are not invisible. No, I'm not from Tokyo, Singapore, or Saigon. No, your dogs are safe with me. No, I don't invade the parks for squirrel meat. No, my peripheral vision is fine. No, I'm very bad at math. No, I do not answer to geisha girl, China doll, Susie Wong, Mama-san, Gook, Jap, or Chink. No, to us life is not cheap. No, I do not know the art of tea, and no, I am not grateful for all you've done for me. Friends of mine have died from AIDS, another driven mad by PTSD. Some of us were murdered, blamed for this economy. Another has OD'd. We've been jailed for mistaken identity, incarcerated because of ancestry. And no, I am not the model minority. No, I am from Stockton, Angel Island, Detroit, Waikiki, Los Angeles, Lodi, San Francisco, Delano, Chicago, Boston, Tule Lake, New York City, Anchorage, Jackson, Phoenix, and Raleigh. And yes, I am alive because of memory. Ancestors who endured adversity, all our tongues breaking free. The strength of this diversity. No, we are not invisible. And yes, I am from Tokyo, Singapore, Manila, Guam, Beijing, Cambodia, Thailand, Vietnam, India, Korea, Samoa, Hong Kong, Taiwan. Yes, the strength of the ropes, like ropes of the sun, again lift a new morning. And yes, we rise, as always, amidst you. I wrote this poem this year on the 20th anniversary of the fall of Saigon, on the 50th year since the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. When we meet. Should we not weep for the death of water, the child in flames? What does our heart say when birds drop from stillborn air and too many human bones to bury are heaped in mounds of flame in Hiroshima? How does our heart rest when Oklahoma City bombings, the drowning of sons, the bludgeoning of one woman for whom no one stops to assist, assaults us to paralysis? When does the heart stir? A black wall with names mirrors our bodies as we gape at each life lost. A Vietnam veteran released from Leavenworth displays his wounds exquisitely with his souvenir collection. She had given her arms to offer comfort in nights of rage, offered her thighs so he might slip into oblivion, and in return he slit her soft belly, severed her arms, strung her ears like jewels around his neck. She offered me lilies, tall grass on the side of mountains, waving ponds of peaceful rice, villages of affectionate children, and in return I gave her napalm, a river that smells of blood. We cannot meet again, he said, with hearts of shrapnel. When does the heart scream? A child so hungry in San Francisco eats vomit from her mother's drunken body. We will walk villageward when peace nests within our breasts. We will meet when poetry is louder than guns, when our throats like wide tunnels echo to a string of ears, and a child's tongue is soothed with clear water, when our hearts shudder to life, stroked with severed arms, we will meet. Yes, we will meet. And finally, this poem entitled Meeting in the Circle of Poetry for the People. And I wrote this after a class that June Jordan had led, and she had given such striking examples of what poetry is not. June Jordan's guidelines for poetry: 1, does it tell the truth? 2, is it coherent? 3, does it avoid generalities? 4, is it antithetical to lies, evasions, superficiality? 5, does it celebrate humanity? If politicians were required before they are allowed to take office to write a good poem, we would be bothered with fewer politicians. Governor Wilson, for example, says, women on welfare get no more money because they'll spend it on a 6-pack of beer. Now, this rhyme's not meant to be funny, but it will win me 4 more years. He flunks. I don't want to waste your hard-paid taxes on poverty, drugs, and crimes blackmail. I'll take away funds from education's abstracts and build more concrete jails. He flunks again. If politicians were required to write a good poem, we would not have to worry about politicians. But we will meet in the circles of poetry for the people with truth. I am a woman with 2 children. I will write down 7 specific things I must buy with my $643 per month AFDC check. Rent, groceries for 3, shoes, diapers, bus tokens, sanitary napkins, and laundry soap. I have no money left for aspirin, cookies, condoms, toilet paper, or beer. I put the things I want inside a heart-shaped box: a new dress, a bathtub full of hot water, fresh strawberries, white gardenias, a warm coat, child-sized, warm hands, lover-sized. In circles of poetry, we will meet with imagination. I am a girl with a baby, writing a poem. Please don't crush this butterfly. Please don't pin her wings. Don't crumble her soul. Don't bruise her legs no more. She only wants to fly in the morning when the sun is not so hot, and feel the breath of the sea on her face, and know the breath of God in her wings. She only wants to soar above concrete and sip nectar from gardenias that do not grow in the shade of jails. Thank you.
It is an honor for me tonight to be in such great company of Janice Mirikitani and June Jordan. and also in the company of a good friend of mine who's visiting from New York, where she has been an active organizer for more than 30 years in both the Asian communities and in the Black Liberation Movement. And she held the unique position of being the only Asian active in the Organization of African American Unity. She has been the Asian community's connection to the great Malcolm X, where she was an active member and supporter at his side until the very moment of his tragic death. And she still serves as a vital inspiration in our communities. She's a link to the brothers and sisters who are in the prison system, who are political prisoners. Yuri Kochiyama has not forgotten them, and we will never forget Yuri Kochiyama for all her efforts on our behalf. And I'm proud to present Yuri Kochiyama. Please give her a warm welcome.
First, I want to thank Greg Morizumi for giving me this opportunity of saying a few words tonight of salute to this very powerful, gifted woman warrior, community organizer, role model, and inspiration, Janice Mirikitani. She's a woman, of course, that you all know, and that's why you're here, because you love her and marvel at all she has done and wonder how she does it. She is both sugar and spice, glamour and style, daring and doing, consistent and caring, humble and hospitable, political and poetic, spirited and spiritual. For years, I had read or heard of her works recited, but actually met her years later when Sandy Morey took my husband and I to the Glide Memorial Church to see her in action. Yes, she is unique, one of a kind. She has been a combination of all the women of the world who have used the power of love to transform this world into a more fitting place through simple acts of kindness, sympathy, generosity, and service. She writes poetry when time permits. But most of all, Janice Mirikitani lives in the real world where the human spirit transcends the everyday sorrows, hardships, and suffering of ordinary people. She herself went through it. How appropriate that La Pena is honoring her, as both are institutions that have given abundantly to the community its best of performing arts, re-education, consciousness raising, encouraging interaction with one another. Janice Mirikitani, keep lighting candles that this world will never become totally dark. We salute your presence, your service through love, and your gifts of many faceted talents. Thank you, Janice. Thank you, La Pena.
I feel a little bit out of place to be speaking in front of all these great speakers, since I'm a musician and that's the way I speak. So, but I'd like to say that I'm very proud to be a part of this tribute to Janice Mirikitani, and I don't know if you remember this, but many years ago you did a film, I think, for Oakland Public School project, right, representing Japanese American women, and I was proud to be selected to do some of the music for that project. And yeah, oh, thank you. and also for Cecil Williams. Many years ago, I played for his Vibrations program. Probably most people don't remember that because it was many years ago on I think Channel 5, right? He used to have a program every Sunday morning. So I'm really happy to be a part of this. And I'm going to play a piece called Tori no Yoni, which means to soar like a bird. And after hearing your words and all the presentations here, I feel that this is a very fitting piece for you. And I hope you'll continue to soar like a bird through your words.
On behalf of Poetry for the People, I would just like to say it is with great honor that tribute for Janice Mirikitani can also serve as a benefit for The Word Comes to Berkeley High, which is our latest project. And it's nice to remember that not only are we giving the opportunity with this project to bring poetry as an art to young people, but we also are hoping to craft the voices of young people for the rest of the world so that people know what it's like to be youth living and working in the world today. And on that note, what our work at Berkeley High is most concerned with is connecting, balance. You have the wisdom of people who have lived a long life, connecting with the incredible strength that I've experienced working with the youth at Berkeley High, and that's unity, and that's kind of what keeps us going. So we hope at this point we can pass around some baskets and ask for a possible donation so that we can continue and develop our work at Berkeley High and spread it out to secondary schools at large. Thank you.
So once again, speaking from La Pena, I just wanted to throw in how we're connected with this project, and at the same time I'd like to ask the poet teachers who are working on the Berkeley High School project to pick up a basket and kind of pass it around as I do this. La Pena Cultural Center, this is our 20th year. It's just about to be over in 1995, and for 20 years we've been combining art and activism, and this latest project, bringing together June Jordan and Poetry for the People with Berkeley High School, we're seeing it as reaching out to a new generation and inspiring another generation